Epilogue, those who walk between worlds. A long, long time from now.
Every year, it gets colder. Now let's see if we can't put some life into you.
Is oh my god, I'm sorry. Is this the old woman from Rekindle the Fire? Is this the old woman from, like, the beginning of, like, the first game, The Longest Journey?
Not bad for a 7-year-old with no idea of what was happening to her and why she was having such vivid dreams. I'll leave them up. After all, Papa isn't around to tell me to clean up and bring them to my room. Our bloodless king. He did not enjoy that throne, but he never complained. Not to me, at least. Even my endless teasing couldn't faze him. Now, there's a face I haven't seen in a long time.
Liko.
Brave Zoe. It couldn't have been easy getting caught up in events and wanting nothing more than a quiet, normal life.
God, it's like... Because it almost seemed like the game was setting up possibly another game, but it looks like they are really just concluding everything here.
One of my older works. I must have painted that one of the Sylphan worlds. Beautiful and peaceful, as always. So naturally, I grew bored again.
Okay, I didn't read
Come to
finish.
think of it, that was an actual place. I visited there to get in touch with my ancestry. It was a strange and powerful experience. The dead walked in that world. They were exceedingly polite, but it still creeped me out no end.
It's the staff.
One day, I'll get rid of that accursed thing. It's stained with the blood of dragons, but it's too dangerous to simply discard. I prefer my worlds three-dimensional, thank you very much.
What is that? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get closer in. What is that? 3-dimensional.
One of my favorite worlds, vast and beautiful. It took me days to walk there, across treacherous song lines, avoiding discordants and bell strikers. I like to think Papa found Mama in the end, and that they lived out their lives together somewhere green and beautiful. Why did you never come back to me, Mama? Were you really not able to find your way? Or did something else happen? Did you forget about us? I probably would never have gone unless I picked up those rumors about a Midgardian woman who suddenly appeared in the City of Three Moons. I was hoping I'd find her there, but the woman had left years before. I stayed a while. It was a wonderful place, but I grew bored, as I always do.
Okay, so there's more to it.
I prefer my world's
that's it.
three-dimensional thing. The dead walked in that world. One of the Sylphan worlds.
Okay, so that's it for that.
Beautiful and peaceful. And Papa never gave up hope, no matter how hard I tried to convince him otherwise. If anyone deserved a happy ending, it was him. I had to visit Letok. I couldn't just let that mystery be. But the paths didn't lead me to them, or to that time, and I found nothing. Still so many worlds unvisited, so many universes left to traverse. But time's running out for me. There. Oh, yes, I remember that place. And that strapping Coruscant farm boy. It was an enjoyable 2 weeks. Until his wife returned.
Okay. Let's continue on with everything here.
Hugsy. He's the only creature in this little world of ours older than me. Oh, dear old Hugsy. You're barely holding together. What's that, Hugsy? You miss Papa? I miss him too, old buddy. Now that my life's winding down, I feel like I'm just beginning to understand song lines. But at least here they are, charted and documented. Someone may benefit from my experiences. I would so like to go, but not now, not today. From what I've heard, she lived a long and fulfilling life. And I know she passed the dream on, or all this wouldn't be. I believe her daughter is still alive in the continuity, along with her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Brave Zoe. I couldn't... Oh, Kian. I miss you dearly. Not a day goes by when I don't think of you. He's been gone so long. I have a hard time recalling his voice and smile. I loved him with all my heart. I always will. Our bloodless king.
Liko.
Liko stayed true to Kian until the end. Though to be honest, I always thought they were gonna end up killing each other. Kian wouldn't have lived half as long without Liko by his side. That man must have saved Kian's life a dozen times. And he always claimed to regret it. Perhaps it was for the best that Liko didn't live to see reunification. I'm not sure the new world would have been to his liking.
Interesting.
Now, there's a face I haven't seen in a... Arcadia, Crow, the Rolling Man. The beginning of a long, long journey. That's her story, experienced with my own eyes. I still can't wrap my head round that one. Not bad for a 7-year-old with no idea of what was happening to her and why she was having such vivid dreams. This was April's. I'm not sure how that's possible or how it ended up here, but I feel her presence in this. I mean, I always feel her presence. That's inevitable. But there is something about this talisman. The beginning and the end will connect. They always do.
Ugh. So strange hearing her say that, considering...
It's hard sometimes to separate my own memories from what I've read and heard. April's journeys are vivid to me, but also dreamlike.
Possibly your past self?
I've spent so many years trying to make sense of our connection. I don't think I ever will.
No, come on. Get off that.
She's a part of me, and she always will be. But how and why? That's a mystery. It's hard sometimes to separate my own memories. His feathers are a lot grayer these days, poor thing. He hates growing old even more than I do. Did I pluck it? He never sheds, or if he does, he hides it well. My lucky feather from my best friend and faithful companion. His feathers are a lot grayer these days, poor thing. He hates growing. Thank the worlds I learned to play the guitar, or I might never have discovered the song lines. When I play, I see ghosts of old songs in the air, guiding me to paths and new worlds. Papa was right about taking time to learn the guitar. Thank the worlds I learned to play the guitar, or I might never have discovered the song lines. The twin worlds became one, and decades of strife and unrest followed. Many perished, but it had to be so. Magic, I haven't been back in decades. New Earth reminds me too much of friends long gone. But maybe I'll pay one last visit to those who remain.
Okay, so that was in reference because she said there was a civil war with Kian, and then a decade later there will be an even bigger war, which I'm assuming is the reunification, though apparently Liko did not survive that.
The complete history of the War of the Balance and the Reunification of Worlds. Volumes 1 to 13. I've yet to make it all the way through, I'm afraid. I helped Galath with the details while he was writing it. I was there to witness it all. At least Galath was able to complete it before he traveled on to the stars. It's an impressive achievement, that history. I really should read it one day. The complete history of the war. Some call it Starcadia. But not me, for it's a silly name. The twin worlds became one. And decades of strife and unrest followed. Many perished, but it had to be so. Magic and science could not be divided forever. Worlds like that one are jarring. Everything just slightly off. It's like it was designed to keep me on edge, and I have such a hard time understanding post-physicals. Worlds like that one are jarring. Everything just slightly off.
It's like all these untold stories that I just...
And I have such a hard time. She came to me when I was a child. She spoke to me, comforted me. I believe we'll meet again. And maybe then the mysteries will become clear to me. The white dragon, April, me. Life's not a circle. It's a spiral. And there's an end to it. Eventually. She came to me when I was a child. She spoke the secret lives of Stickman. Paths, ways, and song lines. Time is a spiral. Reincarnation for beginners.
I just want to hear all these.
The House of All Worlds. My one and only book. And it is truly one book only. The Secret Lives of Stick. The people of Stark got a sneak peek of what reunification would be like with the collapse. For most, it was not a pleasant experience. The people of Stark got a sneak peek of what reunification would be like with the collapse. For most, it was not a pleasant experience.
Okay. Rest your legs in the comfy chair. Think I have looked at everything. The stories that seem to have passed by. Just want to see if there's anything more to this.
The silver spear of Gariman. older than the twin worlds, forged in the fires of the first Earth, created for one purpose, the destruction of magic. Some days I use it as a walking stick. If we do end up taking one last journey, it'll probably be because of this blasted stick. One day, I'll get rid of that accursed thing.
Time to rest our weary legs.
But it's too dangerous to simply discard. Rose loved to tinker with her creations. Now, where did those dragonflies of hers go? I haven't thought of Rose for nearly half a century. Where did she end up after reunification? She always spoke about going post-physical and being with her Alvin again. I would love to hear that story one day. Knowing Rose, she got what she wanted.
Okay, I think that should be the end of that. And I believe this should be Crow Jr. I'm not quite sure how.
It's freezing out there. You should not have let me go outside. Ugh.
You're a big boy. What imbalance were you thinking?
Fresh air. And I was going a bit stir-crazy inside.
You know very well it's not safe. Paths shift with the wind between worlds, and the song lines are fragile things at the best of times. One discord, and you could end up lost forever. Just like...
You worry too much, old woman.
Oh, old woman? Huh? You're no spring chicken yourself, Bird.
Oh, Bird, me. I've survived worse. Anyway, time to dry my cold feathers by a roaring fire while I enjoy a saucer of sweet sherry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you. You can't.
What? I can't what?
Be here.
You're not serious. You're serious.
I'm receiving a visitor, and she mustn't see you. There'll be too many questions. Questions I can't easily answer.
And who, pray tell, is this very important visitor?
I will tell you. Afterwards. Go upstairs and warm yourself by the chimney. It won't be too long.
After all these years, I get no respect. No, don't say anything. It's fine. I'm going upstairs. Just don't expect me to come back down again later. Or ever.
I'm making shortbread.
Call me when it's ready.
Okay, rest your legs in the comfy chair.
It's the comfy chair. Welcome, April Ryan.
Wow, okay. Yeah, it's like there's a bit of time jumping as well, I guess. I mean, what's interesting to me is that seems to be a whole length of stories that seem to be hinted at that occur after. Because it almost seemed like it was like it's setting up for like possibly another game. Not to say that they couldn't do it, but yeah, it's from happening, or at least keeping it from happening too soon, I'm assuming. Then April, and then in Dreamfall, Zoe's story came in of the Dreamers. And this whole thing where April kind of abandoned who she was. Kian was trying to make sense of what they're doing, if it was right or wrong, and then it became Dreamfall Chapters and so many things. I'm assuming Enu, there's nothing told about Enu, but I'm assuming she did okay. Hopefully she made it out during that civil war, or at least hoping resurrect, or resurrect is the word for Mercury I can think. I don't know if it's the best word to use, but that's what I'm thinking. So Brian Westhouse became the enemy in the end. The end, dreaming was really, well, it's all about balance, right? Yin and the yang. So you have dreaming, then you have the undreaming, and they coexist. And they'll eventually become one. And these are all the backers on Kickstarter. And I remember when the names that showed up, I can't remember. It was hilarious. I'm just looking at some of these names. I'm like Shampoo McTavish. I'm trying to see if any of the names that come up. Let's see. Oh, we have a website somewhere there. I'm waiting to see for the consequences when that shows up. Man, I don't know how I'm going to be cutting this when I get to the editing of all this. Luckily, I checked to make sure that there's enough room because I wasn't sure if this was going to take 2 hours. And this is definitely, I'm at 3 hours. I've been recording for 3 hours so far. Yeah, in one part, it's curious. I mean, there's nothing to say that they couldn't make the story, but they couldn't create another game in terms of the untold stories, like the reunifications and stuff like that. At the same time, because we know how it's going to end, it seems it's like we know how, well, it's about the journey, maybe, right? The longest journey, it's all about the journey. But I'm really curious about the time thing, because that was April Ryan in the end, and Saga was the old lady. It's like, how does that all work in terms of, because the song pass is not just traversing between different parallel worlds. We're also time periods. I mean, if it's a spiral, then I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how that works, how it looks, and everything and all that. But yeah, I definitely very much enjoy this game. This last section is very much a whole ton of cutscenes of trying to show where everyone's story went and where it may have ended up. I'm assuming Zoe got together with Reza in the end. It didn't actually show him when she said, "Hey you," but I'm assuming my little Zoe's flirtation, which I didn't know was going to happen. I'm still miffed about that. But Zoe's flirtation with her psychiatrist ended up to nothing. Turns out the guy who was there to protect us was really working for Helena, which somewhat makes me less guilty that, well, how he lived, whether he lived or died, who knows if it would have an effect or not in terms of the story or what happens with Helena. It's so interesting learning that Zoe actually manifested an actual physical part of herself that was living a life in Europolis. And what actually was interesting, because it was explained that Reza was brainwashed by Wadi Corp, and so the entire time he was brainwashed by Wadi Corp, he needs to be, oh, Majesty's House of Pain. You'll come for the pain and stay for the humiliation. Sorry, I just saw that name scroll past. I'm like, what is that? But so because there's Broody, I'm always gonna feel sorry for Broody because I knew the minute he said that he was going to confront the project leader about it. I'm like, no, I sentenced you to your death. But if we handed it to Rez instead, if he was brainwashed by Wadi Corp, I'm curious of what would have happened. I mean, this is just one story depending on what people chose, and I'm super interested in how things could have gone very differently. And I'm curious of how did Saga exactly fulfill her role as princess? What happened to the Empire after Kian died? I'm assuming the Empire even lasts after the reunification, because she said that Liko did not survive didn't survive. So the reunification, he never got to see it. Because in this case, in this story, Brian Westhouse was trying for reunification again, so to speak, just with a very particular image in mind. Everything just seems so in terms of Helena, it's like you understand the reasoning for the reunification. She explained it, but it's curious of like what exactly in your past, like what made you want to do this in the first place. Believe me, I'm trying to hold on, I'm trying. Okay, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like talking about things, theorizing, stuff like that. Is this the end of the credits? Did I actually talk my way through this entire thing? I don't know, there's so many, not so much of questions, but just inquiries, because but in the main thing, it was nothing to do with the main story. Oh, so do we not get to see... Okay. Interesting. So we don't even get to see where things may or may not have ended up in terms of our choices. Because I know there was one thing when for Gao, like that symbol popped up in the corner, and that had something to do, that was a consequence of a choice we made. But since it doesn't really show, I have no idea what it was. Alright then, well, I guess, yeah, that's it. So, I guess that is the end of Dreamfall Chapters. Again, thank you to Trina McGee for basically sponsoring this entire series. Here we see Kian, Saga. Saga's an elderly lady. There's a talisman, song lines. Yeah, that's it. So, I guess with that is the end of Dreamfall Chapters. Thank you for liking if you liked. Thank you for subscribing if you subscribed. Thank you for favoriting if you favorited. Thank you for commenting if you commented. And please comment. Say what you have to say about this ending. Though most people probably already went to watch this on different channels that uploaded it much faster. But yeah, thank you for being with me on this longest journey. And I guess until next time, guys, see ya.